All right, welcome back to the stream. So,
I'm
before
sorry.
we left, the four of you were making your way back to Colvir, and you were making your way through the swamp when suddenly these five bullywugs, came rushing through the swamp, screaming, armed at the top of their lungs. You are all hidden here. What do you do? What is the party's reaction?
It looks roll initiative, but
Yeah,
You want to roll initiative first? All right, roll
I thought
initiative.
Oh, you told me to roll initiative when
Hold
we
up.
get back.
Yeah, when we come back. But I want to fire an arrow at the one in the front before we roll initiative.
you're just gonna open fire.
Yeah, always.
What?
Okay.
Can we see what they're running from, Greg?
Yes. So, Sambar, you want to fire an arrow at them. Fire away. Go ahead and roll to hit. Pick a target, roll to hit. Go ahead and give me a perception check, Goric, to see if you can find what they're running from.
All right. Oh, that's a crit on Millman's part.
Oh, wow. Good job. Roll me some big damage.
Yeah, this kid's about to die. So
You
that's
said perception, right, Greg?
Yes, sir.
22.
22 points of damage. Which one were you aiming at here? There are, you could tell, two kind of smaller bullywugs in the front. Okay, yeah. You take him down. This guy takes an arrow to the throat, and you just see a bloom of blood just rush out around him, and he drops and immediately, he immediately dies. And stumbles and falls, his cry cut short as he falls to the ground. Goric, you scan the horizon looking for something that they might be running from, and you don't see it, unfortunately, with your 7 perception. You just see these 5, now 4 creatures rushing towards you with weapons, but you do see that they are indeed injured.
I was gonna say I probably see a Quentin Tarantino-esque spray of blood as Millman.
Yes, a mist of red blood. Rose, Janlar, what are you doing as these things rush towards you?
I'll try sidestepping them, I guess.
Okay.
Because the last time I saw a rush like that, it was in the sea of grass, right? So.
Ooh, that's
Go
a
ahead
rough
and move your
time.
character within, a
I guess
turn's
just
worth of
before.
movement if you want.
Also, since we're still not sponsored by them, I figured I'd also grab a
Oh, which one? Which flavor? Which flavor?
Voltage,
guys
the
got-
best flavor.
See, we don't have that here. I have to import it, and it
Oh.
triples the price.
I love how you said that so confidently, like it was definitely the best flavor.
It is definitely the best
It is,
flavor.
it is.
Janlar,
My
what do
It's
you
the
do?
blue raspberry one.
Janlar's gonna cast Mage Armor.
Okay.
Yeah,
to
Janlar's
be
gonna
fair,
cast Mage Armor.
I also really like the cherry citrus game fuel flavor. Is the
All
other
right, so you cast Mage Armor, a blue shield engulfs you, and with that, I would like you all to roll initiative. I see Sambar is already on the case with his 5.
They already have.
Yeah, Janlar and I both rolled it too. He's got a 22 and I've got a 17.
Alrighty. Rose.
I've also got some Sour Patch Kids here for our
Very
non-sponsored
nice.
sponsor stream.
Now it's elevated, thank you.
We need to do a whole session of just non-sponsored sponsored stream, and I'll bring every Australian delicacy food here, and we'll try to get as many as we can.
Alright, so...
What is an Australian delicacy food?
Vegemite, caramello koalas,
What are the things you dunk into milk and you drink through them?
Tim Tams, yes!
Those.
You are the first to act. You are enshrouded in mage armor. These things are rushing towards you. You saw your companion shoot one in the throat and watch it die. What do you do?
Seeing the attack begin, I'm also gonna attack the one next to it with
Okay.
a ray of frost.
Ooh, a ray of frost shoots
Actually,
out from your
wait.
fingertips.
These are 5 feet each.
Yeah, so they're... Yeah, the squares are 5 feet each.
Okay, we're good. Yeah.
You can also use the measurement tool if you need to.
For some reason,
Sometimes your maps don't match up.
I struggle.
These ones do. 13, your ray of cold lashes out, striking this kobold, or this bullywug square in the chest as it rushes towards you. Please roll some damage. for 8 points of damage. Excellent. You see it stumble in place and then fall to the ground, once again dying. Its previous injuries too much for it to overcome, as it is now very dead. Alrighty. The next to act is Goric. You've seen now 2 of these bullywugs fall to your companion's attacks. What do?
Have the other bullywugs reacted at all to the fact that we've just ambushed them and killed 2?
They are continuing to scream and rush forward. However, it is not their turn in the action economy, so they have not moved since.
All right. I will move to right next to Janlar here.
All right.
And I will just sort of ready my shield and be ready to defend Janlar if something comes at him.
All right, you ready your shield to defend. Rose, you act next in the turn order. What do?
Rose is gonna crouch down behind that giant fern here, and she's going to wrap her cloak around herself and is going to turn into a giant black bear.
Ooh, a giant bear. All right, let me find you a bear.
I think it's just called a black bear in the thing, but I call it,
Yes,
it is a bear. Just before somebody says, "What you got?" Yes, I know. And then, yeah.
There is your bear. It is a large-sized creature. Yes. Boom.
I will look it up in a second. And then I'm going to move. Oh, well, I can't move this.
You can't quite. Yet.
I'm too heavy. I'm too heavy and furry. Okay.
There you go. You got it. Move away.
Oh, actually, a black bear is a medium creature.
Oh, is it a medium creature?
Yeah, apparently.
I thought it was a large creature. There you go. Now
yeah, I would have thought the same, but
okay. And I'm gonna walk past my people. Over here.
A brown bear is a large creature. A black bear is a medium.
Excellent. So, you turn into a bear and walk forward. This brings us to some other creature's turn. In the swamp, you see the entire, bodies of water, the standing still, begin to ripple and shake. And then from the back of where these creatures were running from, you see a new creature emerge. It is a giant pile of leaves and vines and twigs and sticks. They are all in a massive mash that seem to move as one, and it begins rushing forward into the swamp nearby you. And it has a movement speed of not a great deal, but it will move 20 feet here. In range of one of these running, screaming bullywugs, and it reaches out with its large, viney tendrils, and comes slamming down in an attack upon this nearest bullywug. With a 20 to hit for...
Here we go. This is how we know how fucked we are.
11 points of damage, and this bullywug in the back stumbles and falls dead on the ground in front of it. It then lashes out with another vine, but it can't reach any of the living ones, and it grabs this bullywug and drags it into the center of the creature, engulfing it into the mass of vines and leaves, and it is gone from sight. That brings us to Sambar. You are standing out here in the middle of the swamp, having tried to shoot an arrow and kill one of these things before. What do you do now that you see this new opponent enter the fray?
I pointed it, and I literally reply with the and then I'm going to fire at the big tree vine thing.
All right, please shoot your arrow.
I let loose.
A 10. Your arrow fires into the mass of vines and reeds and rotting vegetation and just kind of sinks into it, seemingly unaffecting the creature. What else do you do with your turn? You stand there?
I'm going to move onto the bit of landmass there.
All right. Excellent.
And I don't have anything else because we didn't rest between sessions. So, go.
All right, and that leaves us these Bullywugs' turn. They are still rushing forward as fast as they can go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This thing rushes forward, seeing you in its way. It takes out its large, oversized spear and attempts to just strike you through to, like, knock you away and continue its rush forward. It will strike with a +3 to hit. It is not nearly as scary. A 22 to hit you with its spear.
Yeah, it does the job.
It does the job. It hits you for 2 points of damage.
Oh, phew.
And this guy continues his rush forward. 1, 2, 3.
That fighter, you don't have 22 AC.
All right.
I mean, my other fighter is 22 AC or 23 AC. I'm just not in full plate with a +3 shield, okay?
Genlar, you see this new creature engulf one of the enemies. You see the Bullywugs rushing away from it, one of them striking Sambar, who was in his way. What do you do?
Seeing Sambar attack the big creature, I'm gonna follow his lead. Take a little sidestep over here so I can see it, and cast Firebolt.
Okay. You wave your hands together and you fire a bolt of fire into the creature. Please roll to hit. A 16. Does in fact hit. Your fire streaks out, striking the mass of rotting vines and vegetation. Your firebolt immediately hits it and then kind of sizzles a little bit, seemingly not doing the amount of damage you were hoping it would do, but still leaving its mark on the creature. Anything else you're doing with your turn?
Do I see the firebolt kind of sizzle?
Yes, it's very obvious. Like, all the, like, water and vegetate, like the dampness from the swamp just kind of diffuses the fire quickly on the creature's mass.
If I still have movement, then I would step back behind Gorks.
Okay, yeah, you took like
shoulders.
10 feet of movement. You can move 30 feet.
I didn't know I could move in
and
between.
break it up however you want.
Okay, I didn't know I did. Yep.
Yeah. So, excellent. Gorik, Genlars has done the duck and jive, shot a fire bolt at this creature. What do you do? You unmute yourself first.
That's fair.
There we go.
Is any of the terrain that we're in considered difficult terrain, or is it pretty standard?
In the standing water, that would be considered difficult terrain. So, like, this area just behind you would be difficult terrain, or this area underneath the bullywug here. But the vegetation and ground is normal.
Okay. So I have 2 questions.
Yes.
Actually, that was the first question, so I only have 1 question left. Has Gorik ever seen a shambling mound before?
I don't know. Has Gorik ever seen a shambling mound before?
I don't know where he would have.
Okay. Doesn't sound like it to me, then.
Okay. All right. So I don't know that we're royally dead and need to run. So I will just Sacred Flame it, I think.
Okay. You unleash your Sacred Flame. It needs to make a Dexterity saving throw?
It does need to make a Dexterity saving throw.
Alrighty. Sounds good. This thing has ass dex. So, there we go. It is a failure. Please roll your damage.
Alright. 1d8 radiant damage. 8.
Alright. Gorik unleashes the pale light of the dead as this kind of soft moonlit light erupts around the shambling creature full of vines and muck, dealing 3 points of damage to it in its advance forward.
This thing's really big, right?
Yes. It takes up the entirety of these 4 squares.
Alright. I'll move 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I'll move up here, sort of skirting around the edge of the water, and I'll say to Janlar, I'm like, I don't have the energy to fight this thing. We may just need to run. It doesn't seem very fast.
I agree. I have very little magic left in me. I fear if the fire didn't do anything to it, how is the cold going to?
Why is it we keep encountering fire-based things and Tom is not here?
I was...
Rose.
I don't think fire would help against
What
it.
are you doing?
Have I seen one of those before?
You tell me. Have you seen a shambling mound?
Do they exist in deep, dark, gloomy forests?
Yes, in fact, the shambling mound is something that you would find in the Gloomwood.
Right, so maybe I can roll for whether I've seen one?
Sure, if you'd like to. Go ahead and give me a nature intelligence check to remember what you might know about this thing.
Right. I guess not.
Yeah, so you would know that perhaps these are creatures that you have heard about from your people. In the Gloomwood, the weed that walks is a terrifying presence that you know to fear, but you don't know much about it, having never actively encountered one yourself.
Right.
Isn't this encounter like straight out of the Horde of the Dragon Queen book? Aren't there some bullywugs running from the weed that walks?
I stole the weed that walks name just now, but no, this encounter is not.
Okay.
Okay.
I like that name. It's a good flavor for
It is a good flavor,
druid
for
to
sure.
name it, so I use that name. But yeah, no.
Well, we are pretty beaten up. You said it doesn't run very fast, is that?
We saw it chasing the bullywugs, and it looks like they're outpacing it. Mostly.
Right. The question is for how long, though?
Minus the arrow to the throat.
Yeah.
So Rose, you remembered something about this creature. What do you do?
Well, it is okay. Well, I guess my force senses are tingling, so the bear's gonna turn around and bolt into this direction. So you see the bear? She's like approaching the thing, and then she slows down, and then she does it. And then she just turns around and just bolts through the swamp as fast as she can.
All right, your bear senses tingle. And you turn around and bolt. You feel free to move up to, I think, 80 feet, as you can use both your move action and your...
I think that's past the map.
Okay, you can move as far as you can off this map if you would like.
Boop.
Awesome. I can't even see you. You're gone. Excellent. That brings us to these large mound's turn. And it begins rushing forward as fast as it will go. There's 1 square, 2 square. Nothing is in its range. It will move 3 squares, 4 squares. Does it have 10-foot reach? No, it should, but it doesn't. Alright, that is its turn. As this giant mash just rushes forward through the swamp, trying to chase down the creatures that it sees in front of it. That brings us back to Sambar. You have this bullywug that has struck you in its panic, trying to flee. What do you do?
I see Rose run the other direction. I'm like, you're going the wrong direction, Rose! We're going that way! And then, like, as I'm pointing, I'm like, Chandler, run! And I'm going to 5-foot skirt around this dude, and then I'm gonna headbutt him.
Alright. Please roll to hit with your headbutt.
I just gotta disable my sharpshooter, because I'm not sharp headbutting him.
Jandlar's seen the bear went this direction over here, right?
Yeah, so I was pointing this way, and she went that away. We kind of want to go that way.
To be fair, I just assumed there was more water up here because that looked, like the end of the landmass to me. So I figured.
22 to headbutt this guy.
Alright, your headbutt hits as you rear back and give him a solid... Go ahead and roll
Ring my own bell.
go ahead and roll your damage. 7 points of bludgeoning. This creature is definitely reeling. It stabbed you with a spear, and then you headbutted it. In its panic, it's just like... stumbling around. That brings it to its turn. And it is... You know what? It is going to stab at you one more time and then try to run away. Because it wants to kill you so that it can get out of here, but it doesn't want to stay for too much longer. So it will thrust its spear at you quickly for a 12 to hit. Which doesn't. And seeing that this is going to take a prolonged engagement, just breaks as fast as he can away from you. Go ahead and roll your attack of opportunity.
I guess I'll just hit him with a headbutt again.
Yes, you can attack of opportunity with your head.
It's the beautiful thing about having a head that's made for headbutting.
Alright. No. Sadly, he was too quick, and your headbutt just ends in the air. And this thing runs as far as it can away from the giant creature. Which brings us back around to Janlar. Your shield has moved up away from you. What do you do?
Muted!
Sorry, how many feet can I dash while encumbered?
While encumbered. What level of encumbrance are you?
There's only just the first level of encumbrance.
The first level of encumbrance. You can move 20 feet, I believe. It's 20 or 25 feet.
Are the police at Dan's house again?
The police are always at Dan's house.
Dan.
If he's encumbered, it drops by 10, it says.
It's 10 feet, not 5.
Yeah.
Yep, it is. So you can move 20 feet since you're a human.
Okay. And then if I dash, can I do that twice, right?
Yep.
Okay. So then I'll go 40 feet.
Which is my normal bear speed.
All right, you guys start running farther and farther away from this thing as fast as you will go. Excellent. That brings us to Gorik.
Gorik will back up to Janlar and kind of cover Janlar's retreat.
Okay.
And I will toll the dead, the shambling mound.
Yes.
So sort of death bell rings out across the marsh, and it needs to make a wisdom save.
It will make a wisdom saving throw, absolutely. A 10 will fail.
That
Please
does
roll your
fail.
damage. It has been injured.
It has
Drop the
taken
logs.
damage. So it takes 4
points of damage.
Yep.
All right.
Necrotic this time.
Necrotic this time.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, your Skrillex-esque tolls rain down through the swamp, striking this thing, ripping open parts of its decaying, fleshy body. You get a quick glimpse in at the bullywug inside of it getting devoured, and then the vines close back around it. It seems not all that perturbed by your tolls. That brings us to Rose. You're a bear and you're very far away. What do you do?
Can I see anybody bolting into my direction, or are they all running into another one?
You wheel around and look over your shoulder as you're a bear, like, and you see them bolting in the opposite direction of you. There's just sandbar and bullywugs between you and this mound.
Oh my god.
I did yell at you that you were going the wrong way.
But I was like, running
Panic
past
mode.
and yeah. Right. Well, I guess I am turning around and then from wherever I am dashing into, I guess I have to dash into the direction of that thing.
Can't
No.
you just go up?
I'm not sure. Is this water? Or is this
You
like
end up. So you ended up over here. How far
Well,
off the
that-
map are you from here?
about what was this? It was about 15 feet off
15 feet.
off the map from here.
Yeah, so you can run 15 feet to this point and then up. If you go up here, you'll see that this little body of water kind of goes around. So if you did like something along this line, you run 15 feet to get where you are, and then from there you go like this direction and then up here. You can avoid the standing water and then come back around to your friends.
Right, but I did see how far this thing could move, right?
I believe you were running away from it, but yeah, it doesn't seem to be that far.
Like when it was still approaching us. So I wouldn't run the entire. I would wait here because Sandbar is still behind us. I don't want to leave him behind. So.
Okay, all right. You move there. Your big bear form turns around, waiting for Sandbar to do something. And with that, it is this mound's turn. This mound sees that the closest creature to him is Sandbar at this point. And it will move its 2 squares. There's 1 square. Oh, it doesn't even really need to move 2, but it will move 2 just to get to, like, the perfect point. And then it reaches up with its mass, thick vines and comes crashing down upon you with a +7 to hit.
Please don't hit me.
Its first vine attack is an 11! You dash out of the way of it. Its slow, imposing mass just causing a splash in the fetid swamp beneath your feet. Its second attack is a 15.
That's my AC. Give me that damage.
Alright. You get smacked by this enormous mass of vines. And it does...
This is gonna be ugly.
Yeah.
8 plus 4. It does 11 points of damage as it slams its vines down upon you. And that ends its turn. Which brings us back around to Sandbar. Oh, actually the bullywugs. They run away. The bullywugs run off the map.
Fucking cowards.
Sandbar, what do you do?
I'm going to disengage. And I have 30 feet of movement, so... Let's go there. I'm getting the fuck out.
Alright, you run away from the threatened area of the shambling mound. It will strike at you as you
Alright, disengage. Disengage.
You disengage. Alright.
So I only went 30 feet.
It strikes out at you, but you were smart and duck out of the way as its slow movement slammed down the ground around you. Alright.
Insert further bleating noises.
Further bleating. Janlar, what do you do?
I hear Sandbar get attacked. Let's see if I have. Can I cast Levitate?
No, no more levitate.
No? Alright, I'll just run. I'll just continue.
Ray of Frost and keep moving.
Ray of Frost will do nothing.
You run away, Janlar.
I guess, actually, yeah, I'll cast Ray of Frost. I'm within 60.
It slows it, right?
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There's a ruler tool, Dan.
Yeah, I for some reason I can't use it. I struggle.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I got you back, buddy.
I'm close enough.
Yeah, you good.
I'll cast Ray of Frost once more.
Alright, please roll to hit. 17 hits. Please roll some damage for me. 2 more points of damage. Again, your cold hits this creature, and seems to dissipate rather quickly. The fetid nature of this swamp water keeping it warm. It doesn't do as much damage as you would like it to. In fact, it seems that none of you have been able to do more than 4 damage to this creature at a time. It's not very much at all. Yeah. After your Ray of Frost hits, you run farther back.
Yeah, I just continue to move.
All right, you run off the map away from this creature, which brings us to Goric. What do you do?
Part of me is like, well, we could just game the system and each of us can move 20 or 30 feet away from it every turn and just use ranged attacks until eventually it gives up or dies and isn't fast enough to catch us. But I think that having just fled the Silver Lord's realm and being pretty tapped, I will just pace Janlar, who's only moving 20 feet around, right?
20 feet
last
around.
round he only moved
Because
10.
he's encumbered.
And I cast a spell this last round, so it was only 10 this round.
Anytime you take an action, you can move 20 feet. Your movement is 20 feet. If you move and then you move as your action, you can move 40 feet.
Okay, then yeah, I'd take 20 feet.
All right, so I'll hit it with one more Toll the Dead, and then I'll move back to Janlar, and just kind of we'll conduct a fighting withdrawal.
A fighting withdrawal it is. It passes its save against the Toll of the Dead. Yeah, it's not very interested in getting torn apart by your bells. Excellent. That brings us to Rose. You're a bear. You're seeing your party retreat. What do you do?
Yep. Well, I will since Sandbar is moving, I will move into this. I guess I move like this. Right? That makes
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah. All right. Which brings us to this creature's turn. It can move 2 squares from here. So there's 1 square. There's 2 squares. And it will make 2 attacks at Sandbar. D20 plus 7.
That's not a machine. That was slowed by 10 feet.
It is slowed by 10 feet, so it can move a square and a half. It can go 10 feet. That's it. That's all it can go. It does not attack Sandbar, because it does not have 10-foot reach. Good call. Ooh,
totally
Sandbar,
worth it, man.
You see your life flash before your eyes as this thing
I literally saw my
suddenly
life
stops its advance. What do you do?
I let out a fuck no bleep and run my full movement. So 60 feet, that direction. So another 30 past.
All right. And with that, if you guys so choose, you are now far enough away that this cannot reach you. If you want to continue running through the swamp, this encounter ends.
Can I litter it with arrows until we're no longer, until it either dies or we get away?
If you want to double move, you are now.
I won't double move every turn because
you can't double move every turn. You can only move 30 feet and shoot an arrow, or you can. Can
I do that until I run out of arrows?
If you move 30 feet a turn and it moves 40 feet a turn, it will eventually catch you. Right?
Good point. Never mind.
So
I'm out.
do you think you can kill this in 6 turns, right, or so, before it catches up to you? Or do you just want to run away?
For 5 turns and then take my...
Yeah, I was gonna say technically he can just wait till it gets within 40 feet of him and then double move and then just keep repeating that process.
All right. You begin this process of slowly whittling away your arrows. Feel free to roll up to 10 arrows worth of attacks. After that, this thing will just give up and go away. So if you can kill this in 10 attacks, I will give it to you.
14 doesn't hit.
That's a miss. You're looking for DC 15. Or you're looking for AC 15. It's
15? 1,
Yep.
10.
Okay, that's 5 points of damage.
Alright, I'm gonna throw on my sharpshooter. Let's roll this dice properly. So 16?
16 is a hit.
Takes 22.
Takes 11.
Come on. Crit.
Okay.
I don't think this rolls your sharpshooter properly.
I had to adjust it because it wasn't subtracting the 5.
So that takes
but
13.
for some reason the attack
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't go in. You have to you still have to subtract it in your head.
The rolls are the sheets are not.
It's a plus minus. It doesn't do.
The global attack modifier doesn't compensate for negs. It only compensates for bonuses. So that didn't crit. It didn't roll crit. Do you want me to just click it twice?
Sure.
Did everything freeze?
Sure. So you don't get the sharpshooting
No, I don't
portion
get the
of
extra
it.
10, so...
Yeah, so you just get the 8.
Okay, cool.
Greg, do you while Sandbar is peppering it with arrows, do you want it to roll 10 wisdom saves as well?
No. Too much dice.
Yeah.
Too many die.
6.
12.
That's a miss.
Yeah. Come on. Come on. No. I gotta get all my bad rolls out so this makes sense. No.
That's
there
a
we
hit.
go.
That takes 11. One more.
Come on. Crit.
That's a miss.
That doesn't hit.
Alright, you want to make 10 saves?
I mean, it could. We could just say it passes half of them too.
It rolls 2 passes, I think.
Yep. 3. The 14
3 passes. Okay.
So 7. It takes 7d12 necrotic damage for 34.
Okay. You guys got it to almost half health before it gave up chasing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that? Arrows too.
Alrighty. And with that, eventually the creature gives up. After rounds and rounds and rounds of kiting it back and forth and this way and that way through the swamp, the creature just kind of stops, starts trudging back away from you.
Was a nice duel. Fight you when I'm a higher level. Bye.
Alrighty. So now the four of you are once again in the swamp, having been chased off by a massive walking, twisting mass of vines and vegetation. What do you do?
So a light lunch or a nap, and then we'll continue on to the town, or are we feeling good to keep going to the town?
How far from town are we?
Well, you are probably at this point half a day or less away from town.
I mean, the town is probably a safer place for us to take a rest. I mean, we could definitely take a short rest just to sort of...
Yeah.
I mean, we just conducted an extended fighting withdrawal from this thing. We're probably pretty winded. Almost like athletes who played 4 overtimes after a full game. So having a little sit down might not be a bad call.
All right.
Okay.
So the four of you sit down in the swamp to catch your breath for about 10 minutes, take out some rations that it seems that Sambar has actually mostly eaten through. So you don't have much to eat, but you can spend some healing dice, tend to your wounds, get your second wind, as it were. And 15 points of hit dice back for Sambar.
I really need
Anyone
that.
else rolling some hit dice here?
I will roll one of mine.
All right.
No, I have no HP to regain, but I would regain a spell slot.
Okay. Yeah, you use your arcane recovery to get back a spell slot. Absolutely.
Nice.
8 more points of HP for Gorik there.
That puts Gorik back to full.
Okay. So, 10 minutes go by of you tending to your wounds, treating yourselves, catching your breath.
Do you want some orange? I'm holding
Are you
out
still
the
a
ball.
bear? Do you maintain your bear form walking around, or are you...
Oh yeah,
reverting?
absolutely.
All right.
I'm just waddling along. Okay.
You still have like 45 minutes of bear form to go. Gonna make every bit of
But
that count.
It's longer now, right? For me, it's now 2 hours.
That's
so.
right. Yeah, you've got more than an hour.
Bear Rose, do you want some orange? I'm just like handing out this orange out of a jar.
The bear sits on his like hind legs and it's like shaking its head and it does this.
Okay. All for me.
All right. With your rest completed, what do the four of you do? Just start heading back to town?
Yes.
All right. Sure enough, you guide yourselves the rest of the way through the swamp to your surprise, perhaps, or maybe to your delight. Maybe both. There are no further encounters in the swamp. You see the occasional alligator or crocodile running through some standing water, but your guide, your outlander, keeps you safe and manages to avoid any pitfalls that may have befallen you. Perhaps the dice were kind to you in terms of your encounters. And you eventually leave the swamp, finding yourselves once again in the kind of outskirts of Colvir. You begin walking your way through kind of a hilly grassland into this grove of trees, and you are back inside of Taranja's orchard with roads to lead you through the massive trees here. As the day is going late into the afternoon and it is heading towards evening, you find yourself back at the manor house.
I was going to say, was there an inn we stayed at? Because I wasn't here for it.
No, you find yourself back at the Taranja Estates. I guess they look kind of like this, although there's a roof over the top of it. This is the large manor house.
Looks lovely.
Yeah, this large manor house. Some amount of time off to the... or some amount of distance off to the west of this is kind of a small for lack of a better word, workers' village, where there are a bunch of shacks and small homes that his workers lived in. As you approach this place, you find that it is quite quiet. Not a lot of work seems to be going on. All of the doors and windows of the workers' homes are shuttered and silent. There's a large black carriage pulled up in front of the estates, and you are not welcomed by any of the servants or other people that you are accustomed to seeing during your short stay here. It is just you and your companions as you walk up to the estates.
Is the carriage, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Familiar?
Ominous?
I don't know, you tell me. Is a carriage ominous? It's a large black carriage. It seems to be wide enough to house two horses side by side. You could think a team of 4, maybe 6 drove the carriage, though the horses are nowhere in sight. It is large enough to... I'm sorry. What was your question?
I'll give it a sniff, Greg. Does it smell like death and decay?
It does not smell of death and decay. Your keen bear senses, well, you're probably not a bear at this point. Your keen rose senses tell you that this smells of like polished, worked oak. It is, you get that like kind of pine solly scent of somebody that has taken extra care of this and cleaned it and polished it and lacquered it. The curtains drawn, of course, in the carriage. Carriage itself is large enough to seat maybe 3 or 4 people at most inside of it. And there is a significant room for luggage and whatnot in a kind of trunk-like attachment to this central carriage portion.
Well, do we knock on the front doors of the house, or do we knock on the servant's door and see if they can tell us what's going on if they're simply all locked in their homes?
Servant's door. I feel like that'd be the right way to go.
You could also just do the thunderclap thing again to announce us, right?
I could do the thunderclap thing to announce us. I fear if all the servants have locked themselves in their homes, announcing ourselves with a thunderclap may not do much for their nerves.
Are they not very nervy?
Gorik could go knock on a servant's door.
You walk up, knock on a door. You get no response.
Can I hear anything? Like, can I hear people in the house?
Sure. Give me a perception check to listen at this house, see if you can hear any sounds of them.
Crit.
You listen, and you come away pretty sure that there is nothing inside the house, or at least nothing making noise. If something is there, it is exceedingly silent.
See my dear ears twitching, face in the house. There's no one there, dude.
Uh-oh.
Well,
I don't think that's good.
I suppose we should go see what's going on at the mansion then. Perhaps they've all been called in for a meeting or some important visitors here. The carriage looks well maintained. I'm sure it's probably fine.
Okay. The last person that said that probably would have died, but let's go knock on the door.
I smile and I say, if it's any comfortable, so did I.
Yeah, see? Very comfortable. And I knock on the door.
All right. You knock on the door, and after a few moments, it swings open and reveals the familiar sight of the Sir Torange. He opens the door himself in his full suit, just as you saw him before, and smiles and says, "Ah, the Seekers, you have returned from the swamp. Tell me, what did you do? You seem to have solved all my problems. Come in, I insist." And he walks away from the door, kind of swings his arms open into his large hall.
I come inside and I go, where are all of your servants? It seems everything is shut down, anticipating visitors.
Oh, yes. Well, you see, they were all so worried about this whole statue nonsense and had been under quite a bit of stress. The fall work is done. I sent them to Colvia to have a few days off. I'm a kind person, you see. I let my workers have some time to themselves to enjoy.
Whose carriage is that?
Oh, that would be mine.
Does he seem genuine when he says that?
I don't know. Give me an insight check.
All right.
I'll lean to Rose. Was he a slave driver last time we were here?
No.
I'm gonna whisper. He's not an honest person, though.
Gorik, you can't tell for sure whether or not he's being genuine, but your insight tells you that this does not seem like the type of reaction that you would have expected from the person that you met before. He seemed like somebody that wouldn't just give his entire workforce a day off, but, you know, judging whether or not someone's lying is not an easy thing to do. But it doesn't reconcile with your previous impression of the man.
Okay.
And we did not see that carriage before.
No.
Like, it had not been at that mansion before, and it just suddenly appeared. And if it is his, and he was there, then where was his carriage last time, is the question.
Oh, I just had it in the back. It was getting some maintenance done. I am preparing myself to have a little trip into Colvia. I think I might do well to rub elbows with the right people, get a little bit of, action with the nobles, let them have some fun with my money and my product. Maybe they'll buy some more of it in the future. You know how it goes, marketing. Anyway, come.
Can I make a perception check if there's anybody else in this room right now? Like,
you look around the room. You don't need a perception check to look with your eyes and see. No, this room is empty. It's just him and the decorations and the normal accoutrement that you see. He sweeps his hands in. Come. I will prepare a meal for us. We can enjoy ourselves. Regale me with your stories of the swamp. You seem to have solved my statue issue. I must know what happened. And then he walks his way into the kitchen, begging, like, waving at you to come with him.
I'll look in the rest of the party as he walks up. You think we should help him saddle the horses? He can't be used to doing this himself. He has servants for a reason.
I am not sure he has servants anymore. It doesn't seem likely that he would just give his servants a day off.
Where is Tom? Would he not have come back here, do you think?
Probably drunk in the back room.
If
He makes a lot of noise when he's drunk, though, and we didn't hear anything.
Also, nothing is on fire.
Good point.
That's true.
Yeah, we can ask Torrance. I have an idea to see if this is really Torrance. Once we get inside and we're talking to him.
Okay. Well, I'll lead and I'll sit down at a table or whatever. If he's making food, I'm down.
Yeah. If I get a chance, then I would go up to Torrance and ask him. I'd say, Torrance, when I was here last, we made a trade. And you gave me an item, and I'm having trouble seeing how it works. Could you show me how it works?
He smiles and says, "Oh, I am just a collector, young friend. I imagine if you wanted to write something, you would dip a pen in some ink and write." He kind of pats you on the shoulder. "Now come, we have food to eat." And he kind of just starts taking plates down off of like a shelf as if they were ready and waiting, and starts putting down food on the table for you all.
Will you need any help saddling the horses up for your carriage? It seems you have only gotten halfway there. Also, how did you get the carriage in front of the building without the horses attached to it first?
Oh, we brought it over with the horses, clearly. They're just now in the stables. No reason to keep them bridled up to it all day long.
When are you planning on leaving?
Oh, tomorrow. It's much late in the day. I don't want to be arriving in Colvia so after dark.
Well, perhaps, if you do not mind, we will accompany you to Colvia.
Oh, that would be excellent. Good
A trip
company.
on foot from your orchard seems like a long journey.
Sure. He looks at the 4 of you and himself and goes, "I suppose we could all fit." "Yes, absolutely." Now, please, eat, drink, bottles! And he walks to the back of the room, grabs some, he has that, like, wine rack that you see in every, Portland hipster's house. Pulls out a couple bottles, shakes his head, puts them back in, gets another one, starts just pouring drinks in front of all of you. Says,
so in the time where he's, like, turning his back and rattling the bottles, I'm gonna cast Detect Poison and Disease.
Okay.
I like that. Millman and Faye are probably intimately familiar with Portland hipsters, by the way.
I haven't met a Portland hipster.
Fair enough. They like wine. You cast Detect Poison and Disease on the food in front of you. You detect no poison or disease in the food.
I look at.
Do I detect anybody who's poisonous or venomous?
Detect anybody who's poisonous and venomous.
Yeah, it's like I don't cast it on something. I cast it on myself. It's like a
It's like a range
radar.
thing.
Yeah, it's like a radar, pretty much. Ding, ding, ding.
It's like detect magic for poison.
Exactly.
How far does that radar go?
I think 30 feet.
I think it's 30 as well.
In 30 feet, you detect no poisonous substances.
Right.
Yes.
Or disease.
Or diseases.
Yeah.
No.
It is barred by,
you
1
might
foot of stone.
get a ping or two from, like, your swampy clothes. Like, the four of you have spent a long time wading through the swamp. You might get, like, a bacterial ping from that, but you don't see any poison or disease hanging out in here.
Okay. It lasts for 10 minutes, by the way.
Perfect.
Well, I look at Rose. Are you gonna have some? The moment she
Sure.
eats it, I'm eating it.
Sure,
Right.
I'll eat some. Sure.
You begin shoveling this food in your mouth. It's delicious. There's roasted quail with, some leeks wrapped around it. There's smoked vegetables, and of course, a wide array of kind of like fruit salads from his orchards. There are roasted and dried nuts, and he provides a rich and complex ale and fills your cups with it. And it complements the food impeccably well. And he kind of sniffs it at the bottle, or not the bottle, the wine goblet in his hand, and takes a long sip. Says, one of my favorites. I enjoy it very rarely, but this seems like an occasion. Now, please tell me, regale me with your tell. I must know what happened to you in the swamp.
I look at the party. I'm like, you gonna speak up? Or no? So we killed a bunch of stuff, and we met a witch, and we went to the realm of the Silver Lord. Then we came back, and then we're here again.
To another realm. Did you bring anything with you?
No, believe it or not, no, we didn't.
Oh, how disappointing! I am a collector. I would pay for such trinkets, I am sure. Are you sure you didn't bring anything with you?
I'll reach into my bag. Well, I did grab this, and I will grab out one of the 4 silver bowls that I got that had the rice in it. Or
Yes.
whatever. No, it was grain. Yeah.
Okay.
I got one of these.
You bring out a silver basin. He goes, oh, how intriguing is this? And he picks it up in his hands and begins looking at it. Tell me all about it. Where does it come from? What's unique about it? I need to know all the details.
It's silver from the realm of the Silver Lord. It was everywhere there. They didn't use jars. They just had bowls that would store things in.
Yes.
And this used to hold grain.
It holds grain for a long-dead lord in another realm. Oh, excellent. Look at the craftsmanship. Can you feel it? There's something different about this silver. Yes. You said it held grain.
Gorik is going to sort of lean forward. Gorik hasn't eaten anything yet. If anybody asks, I have a response about it.
Okay.
But Gorik is going to say, "A long-dead lord. You are familiar with the forgotten Lord of Silver?"
Oh, well, I could only assume. Who else has heard of the Silver Lord? It would sell better if he was long dead, would he not?
Does he seem like he's trying to backtrack and feign like he didn't slip up?
Yeah, a little bit. You got a 20 on your insight earlier. You get the sense of a little bit of backtracking there.
Okay. Well, you are more cultured than I would have believed the simple vineyard owner, Torange.
Well, you pick it up over the years, you can't be as renowned a collector as myself without, having a bit of knowledge about these things. Now, please, continue with your story. What else did you find? Also, how much do you think I could offer you for this?
Oh. How much did I think the bowl was worth when I first got it?
I don't know. What did you think it was worth?
It's a silver bowl, so...
Well, it's also magical because it stores, it keeps food fresh and stuff.
He pauses for a moment and, cuts you off just as you're about to say your number, goes back to his, wine cellar, or his wine rack, pulls out 3-4 different bottles, puts them back, pulls out some other ones, judges them, puts them in front of you and says, how about I trade you these 4 vintages, the finest from my cellars? Each of these sells for roughly 150 gold at the right tavern. They're yours if you'll give me the bowl.
I'll take it.
Excellent! A deal is struck! And he goes and he puts the bowl on a shelf, kind of reverently. He says, oh, I shall make a fortune on this one.
If I see him turn around, I would pull down Gorg's arm and ask him for a piece of copper under my breath.
I'll slip him one. It's a spell component for the Gentle Repose spell, so I'd have them relatively accessible.
All right, perfect. You slip out a piece of copper and slide it discreetly to Janlar.
And then I would cast Detect Thoughts as he's
All right. You cast Detect Thoughts while he's away from you, and I believe, yes, you get a feedback loop as you reach out to detect his thoughts. You reach out to try to see what he's thinking, and then immediately it seems to jump back around and you hear what you're thinking. And as you do this, he whips around and looks at you and then kind of goes back to doing his business. And it seems like both spells kind of cease suddenly, and you are left without your Detect Thoughts.
When he
looks back to me, I'll just smile at him.
I am surprised you have any wine left, Torange. Our inebriated friend, I would have thought, would have drunken you out of house and manor.
Oh, you had a 5th friend, that's right! I don't see him with you. What happened to him?
He did not come with us.
Did he stay in the realm, perhaps?
No, he stayed here. He sent all of us to the realm and did not bother to accompany us, even though our transport was his doing.
Huh. How very strange of him.
I
have not seen him.
I would have expected him to return here. Perhaps he is still lost in the swamp.
It could be.
Painfully sober, I would imagine at this point.
Well, good thing that we don't have to be, am I right? Here, refills? Oh, I see you have not drunk a thing. You must try it. It is one of my favorites.
I put up a hand and I say, I am much too old for drinking, my friend, and my appetite is not what it used to be. I will let the young ones drink, and I kind of gesture to Sambar.
I'm like, thank you.
He fills you right back up.
For the record, would not have been eating anything either, Chandler.
All right.
Well, I've eaten something, but I'm leaning over to Janla and I quietly whisper, "This is so awkward." I'm very visibly uncomfortable because Rose is like, "This is not how it should be. There's clearly something up, and we're all pretending everything is okay."
Right? Yeah, Rose is
sitting there sweating. She's like,
Rose's etiquette book doesn't have any etiquette for what to do when someone impersonates your host, and you know that they're lying.
She's just sitting there, like an impatient child at like a very much too long family dinner. She's just sitting there, like, oh my god.
Oh. Yeah, Rose that it's always important to stay wary.
How far away from me is he?
Oh, like how far away is anyone at a table? Right? Like it's not a banquet table, right? You're not hundreds of feet away from this guy. Like you're at a kitchen table. So what is that? Like 8 feet, 10 feet probably?
I met the guy, didn't I? So I would know that he's off, right? Like he feels off. Was he exactly the same?
I think you and your party seem to be coming to that assumption. Yes.
Well, I'll stand up with my cup, and I'll be like, "Drinks to our adventure, then."
Absolutely, drinks to the adventure and to saving me from this awful statue that was stalking my people.
The moment he stands up, I want to headbutt him.
Please roll a hit with advantage.
Yikes.
Chandler has 3 first level spells left now. That's it.
That's plenty. That's plenty. That's all you need. Minus, so 14?
Is that a 14 or is that a 9?
Yeah, 14. No, 14. I can't. How did I get second wind? What? Anyhow.
This is why I don't think 14. You should use those sheets. I don't think they work good.
Oh, no, I accidentally clicked second wind, apparently.
Okay. A 14 does not hit him, actually. You go to strike him, and there's a little flash of light. Very similar to what you see with Janlar. This like blue flash of energy just between him, and you strike that energy, and it just like ripples.
He's a wizard, Harry.
That's
he kind of steps back, like, "Oh, what have I done to offend you, good sir?"
A second wind? How far away from me is he?
He steps back from the table, maybe a couple of feet. So there's a bit of a gap between you and him.
Would you say there's a 5 feet gap between me and him?
Sure.
I'm gonna put an arrow in his chest.
Okay, you pull out an arrow to shoot at him, and yeah.
You do get disadvantage though for melee.
Let's roll initiative between you and him.
All right. Initiative.
By the way, if Janlar sees Sambar headbutt this guy, he's going to start to make his way toward the door.
Okay. You got a 23, so your arrow strikes first. Go ahead and you rolled to hit with an 18. Roll some damage.
What, does it not get disadvantage for standing in melee with this target?
We narratively said that he stepped back and gave him some space, so we'll call
That's it, because I went to headbutt him and he
you're like 10 feet away from him,
he
right?
just he stumbled back away from the table, and in that like space, Sambar quickly whipped out his bow and fired at him. Right. You shoot him, the arrow sinking into like the soft part of his shoulder. He winces in pain and stares at you, says, "I think it might be time for you to rest. You are clearly weary from your adventure." And he claps his hands together and speaks an arcane word and casts the spell Sleep. Please make a wisdom saving throw for me.
That's not what my roll was, Greg. Just FYI.
17.
Okay. Perfect. You fail. And so...
Oh, fuck.
We're all making the save, right, Greg?
No. You have been excluded from the effects of his spell.
Okay.
Because you have not offended him yet.
Okay. So... Yeah. So, Greg?
Yes, sir.
While you're looking that up, I was rolling knowledge history. That's what my role in there is. To see if over the course of my 300 and something years I've ever encountered a doppelganger before.
All right. Do you have 29 or fewer hit points?
I have 30. Get out of here, son.
You do not fall asleep.
Can Chandler make an Arcana check to see if he knows what spell Torrenge was casting, or that he was casting a spell? Or do we just know that he's casting sleep?
You can know he's casting sleep. You are familiar with that spell. It's in your spell book, isn't it?
No.
Oh. Give me an Arcana check then.
Okay. Does Sambar have the Fey ancestry trait?
Sadly, I do not.
He does not, I don't believe.
Okay. I was gonna say, because that would make him immune to being magical.
Yeah, I don't believe he has that trait.
Okay.
I'm a satyr. I'm not an elf, sadly, or a variant.
You know that this was the sleep spell. Okay, so you are momentarily drowsy by this sleep spell that comes all over you, and then drowsiness passes, and you kind of see him quirk an eyebrow up at you, and then says, well, I don't want to have to do this, but please, just sleep it off. I feel like you'll be much more amenable in the morning. And he just kind of waits to gauge what the four of you are going to do.
Sambar, lower your weapons. I don't think there's any need to attack the individual. Where's the bowl that Sambar was gonna trade for?
It's up on a shelf.
Oh, he already put it on the shelf?
Yeah.
Okay. How close am I to that?
You would have to move past him to get it, right? Like, everything here is within, like, walking up and getting reach, right? But it's behind this caster.
Okay. So Gorik will say, we don't need to attack him, but I would like to know what he's done with Torrenge and all of the other individuals who were on this farm.
He kind of smiles.
I look at him as I say that.
They're fine. Sleeping.
Ah. Yes, they would be, wouldn't they? Who are you? Why are you here?
Just a interested party, he says. I wanted to get what I could from the other side. He smiles. So, it seems we're at a bit of an impasse here. I don't really want to have to kill you, but I can if I must. How about a deal? You go about your secret lives, doing whatever it is that you must do for as long as they last, and I won't bother hunting you down any further, and you give me everything that you brought back from beyond the veil. Deal?
Show us your true form, and perhaps we will consider it.
Oh, what is a true form, really? Fine, if you must.
It's literally your face.
He shimmers for a second, and the illusion around him kind of dissipates. And you see before you the black-robed, dark-skinned man with the chained robes, who was once the crazy person in Willard's Mill.
Oh,
no! He's not a doppelganger. I thought for sure he was a doppelganger.
No.
I've encountered a few.
I do not engage with those creatures. Now, my deal stands. Give me everything from the Silver
That's all I got.
Zone. I read your mind, young one. This one here. He nods his head to Janlar. He knows I had the spell open. You have much more.
So I'm gonna grab Sandbar by his shoulders, right? I'm gonna turn him towards me and I'm gonna say, listen, Sandbar. It's not worth it. Okay? It's just it isn't. Just give it up.
I just literally like turn, big sack of silver hits the table, essentially crushes the table. And I pull out my bag and just start emptying the whole contents of the bag. But I'm not giving him my cigar. He can fuck off.
What is your name, stranger? And what is your interest in the Chained Lord? His worship has fallen away. Why do you seek to free him when he has been so carefully bound?
The realm must have its lord back. You've seen it yourself, it's fallen to decay.
Yes, and what harm is it for a forgotten thing to wither away?
Forgotten, maybe, but still very real. Still very dangerous. Still very much part of the world.
Why didn't
he reaches
you go?
out and takes a hand through the bag of silver, kind of pushes it off the table. Begins looking at your various jars and various bowls and things that you've pulled out of the Silver Lord's realm. He shoves them off the table too.
Woo! Putting them back in my bag.
he doesn't shove them like towards you. He just like casually slides them off the table. He looks at you and says, "It is not here. You must have it."
You looking for the amulet? Because I couldn't find that. I looked. I really did.
He kind of pulls away his dark robe and shows this amulet around his neck.
That's the amulet I was looking for!
Yes,
see?
I already have it. Now.
Can I have it? I'll trade you. There's a lot of silver there.
If you seek the heart, I saw that it was burned before we left. I suspected perhaps you were looking for it. I do not know what your designs on this realm are, but I will see to it that the Forgotten Lord's realm remains forgotten.
He kind of looks at you and says, "A shame that you murdered her. I will see to it that you will suffer for this." Then he looks over towards the other party members, Janlar and Rose. He says, "Perhaps you have it, yes. Spellcasters are wont to pick things up from the arcane."
I literally speak up and then I'm like, I'm the only idiot that ate and took everything.
Janlar's by the door, right?
Yes, you said you moved up towards the door. You feel
You also have
tickle
7
in the back of your
HP.
mind.
Huh?
Just a little tickle in the back of your mind. And you
I'm looking at him. He
you're,
doesn't.
you're
Go ahead.
pretty sure that there's a spell in this book that's perfect for this situation. Your mind is just getting tickled. You're just like, if you opened this book up to the 408th page, you're certain there's the perfect spell for you right there.
And if I look at him, do I see him casting these spells?
No, he just stares at you, like, intensely. Like, perhaps you have it. Give it to me. I won't end your pathetic lives.
I say, perhaps I do have it. And then I run out the door while opening the book up.
Alright, you sprint out the door while opening the book to exactly the 408th page. And you immediately find the spell for gate. And you can immediately open a gate to any place that you desire. Where is it you want to go?
Sarmanath. Into the, like, literally, I want to come out of the teleport down in the dungeon.
Alright. Janlar, you open a gate. A large silver gate erupts out of the ground, archway in tow. It swings open, a silver light spilling out. You rush through it, this magic spent. As you do so, you see this spell page in the book begin to fade and disappear and vanishes from the book. And as you step through, you open up in Sarmanath. The other three of you see this man fly into a rage, and he immediately begins casting a spell, and you all have an opportunity to probably react to this before battle ensues, as he has become enraged by the use of the spell book. Everyone, I think, needs to roll initiative, and we will come to this battle on the other side.
Of a break?
Of a break, yes. 11 for Sambar seems very good. 13 for Rose.
20 minus 1.
3 for Goric. And this man has an initiative of...
Question.
23.
Does
all right.
Chandler remember the spell? That's my question.
We'll find out. Another time. All right. We will see you in about 5 minutes as we join in the battle. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.